everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a really cute illustration. This is actually an artwork that I've had in my head for a little while now, and I am so excited to get it out there. Now, unfortunately, I don't have footage of me sketching the first sketch of this, and that's because it was just a very small sketch in my sketchbook, which I then scanned and then blew it up and then printed it out large on an A4 piece of paper. But as you can see, the artwork here is mostly of like autumn leaves or fall leaves, and I decided to have them all around in a circle, and there is a puddle in the middle. And as you can see, there is a little paw standing in the puddle, and the reflection of the owner's paw in the water. And I just felt that this would be such a cute little sort of candid artwork, and it's just a little, I don't know, just a kind of relaxing, cute, but also very detailed artwork. So as you can see here, there are a lot of leaves, and they're all sort of like swirling around the outside, almost like a border, but not really. And there's also a few little snails in there, and some mushrooms, a pine cone, and just like little pebbles and stuff like that. And yeah, I just lined this mostly with pencil. It's just a brown pencil that is probably going to disappear mostly when I color in the piece, but that's okay. That's what I expect to happen. And now I'm just going in with the lightest colors first, and I'm using my Ohuhu markers here, which honestly I have been loving so much. I am so grateful that Ohuhu sent me these markers, and honestly they are just as good as my COPICS, and probably better than my COPICS at the moment, because the COPICS that I own are quite a few years old now. So it's just really nice to have these nice juicy new markers to use, and the colors look amazing. So anyway, I'm starting off with the lightest colors first. As you can see, there is some yellow and orange, but then I decide to go in with some brown as well, and I'm just blending in some of those colors. So as you can see, a lot of these leaves have like mixtures of browns and yellows and oranges. And now I'm going to move in to some other colors. As you can see, I've added in a big red leaf over there and a big red leaf over here, and I'm just having a lot of fun. This is like a really sort of relaxing style to draw with. So as you can see, I'm just going through piece by piece and slowly building up the colors and detail. And now I'm just going in with the few little blades of grass, and I'm just adding in a little bit of green, but I don't want it to be like full bright green because I want this to be mostly like autumn colors. And I'm just adding in those little details to sort of add some interest, because I don't want the whole piece to be reds and oranges. I want a little bit of complementary color there. Now I'm going to go into this pine cone, as you can see, and just use a sort of soft brown color and add in the beginnings of some shadows and highlights. And now I'm just going to start adding in some details to these leaves. I am just adding in some shadows along where the veins of these leaves are going to be, and just slowly bring out some definition and color. Some of these leaves I decided to add in shadows of brown, and then some of the red ones I added like shadows of like a darker red, and I even decided to add in a little bit of green here and there, because I just want these leaves to look sort of natural and like decaying, and some of them have like just fallen off the tree while some of them have been sitting there for a bit longer, as you can see. After this, I am going to go in now, and this part is what makes me the most nervous. I'm going to color in the background area, just a bunch of different shades of brown. Now I'm adding in some dark brown here and there where there is going to be more leaf litter, so obviously it's going to cast more of a shadow on that earth. But some areas I'm going to add in a more lighter brown and just have like a mix of different tones, because that's like naturally what it's going to look like outside. And yeah, I just had a lot of fun just adding in texture. As you can see, and just like different speckles of different types of browns. And yeah, this was really fun to do. Now for this, I decided to add a subtle gradient, as you can see here. So the top area, there is more light, sort of warmish kind of brown colors, and then the bottom area, there are more darkish brown colors. And I just did that to add some interest. And I'm just gonna go in with the darker brown now and just add some more texture and sort of speckly patterns over that earth to make it look, you know, natural and like dirty, because that's what it is outside. And I even added a bit of a darker edge to the corners as well, and I'm actually going to go over that later on with pencil to even deepen that even more. But now I'm just going to go back into these leaves here, because I feel like a lot of them got lost among that sort of brown background. So I decided to go in and use some of my pencils here just to sort of refine some of the edges and add in some highlights, as well as some details, like for example the veins of the leaves and just highlights and stuff like that. I really enjoyed mixing different colors together. So as you can see, we have some like red leaves with like yellow highlights, and then later on I added more orange and red over the top, and that like gave the leaf a completely different look. So I had a lot of fun with that, and I even added in some green lines to some of those leaves as well, just because I felt like it would look interesting. And I sort of mixed between adding highlights with the pencils but also adding shadows with the pencils too, and that really helped to refine those leaves and make them look like more there, if that makes sense. Make them stand out from the background a bit better and just make them look more detailed and better. Now, as well as the leaves, I'm also going to be adding in some more detail to those blades of grass as well. And I kept the grass very spare because this is like a drawing of autumn or fall, and you know, a lot of the grass is probably dying back as well as getting covered up by the leaves. So that's why I only had a little bit in there, but I feel like it definitely helps and makes the artwork look better. After this, I wanted to go in and just add more refinement to those mushrooms, because they sort of disappeared a bit when I added in that brown background. And I'm also adding in those little snails that I drew in as well, with just some nice green and brown for the skin of the snail and the shell of the snail. And yeah, I think this artwork is coming together to look really cool. Next up is to do the main focus of this artwork, and I have been looking forward to doing this part the most because it's just gonna look really cute. I wanted to do a reflection of the cat, but because the puddle is on the floor, the background of the cat is obviously going to be the sky. So I decided to add in some very soft blended autumn trees, as well as a little bit of blue in between, and I'm keeping this very sort of like light and very soft looking, and like not very textural, if that makes sense. I don't know the word to explain it, but it's like soft and like blurred, kind of like the bokeh effect from a camera, I guess. But I had that behind the cat, and now I'm going to go in and add in the coloring and the fur details for the cat and its paw. So for this cat, I decided the best course of action was to make it a grey cat, because it would stand out from all of the deep and warm colors of the background, and it would just look nice, and the grey wouldn't affect it too much because the grey is more of a mid-tone, so it's going to sort of fit in nicely but also stand out, if that makes sense. And I decided to make this cat a grey tabby because I just felt like it would be really fun to draw and just look interesting as well, because we have all of the different textures for the leaves and the ground, and then we have this stripy fur texture which is going to add another layer of depth to it. And yeah, with this I just went in with a mixture of cool and warm greys, and then I added in some soft blending to the paw, as you can see here, and I just slowly built up the detail and just slowly worked my way to darker and darker colors, and just tried to like keep in mind the patterns of a tabby cat. So with the fur texture, I decided to go with a sort of flicking technique, which would help emphasize the fur but also blend the different colors together. And I really enjoyed using a mix of warm and cool grays because it just gives it a bit more dimension. Instead of just having this whole cat like monochrome, there are like hints of warm and cool tones in there, which is what it's going to look like in real life. Now I think that the look on the cat's face is actually pretty funny. He looks like he's smiling, but also his fur is sort of puffed out on his cheeks a little bit, and that's because he's looking down, and I wanted to show that gravity was working on the fur of the cat's face. And it looks kind of funny when the artwork's turned upside down, because you can see the cat. But when it's turned right way up, where the reflection of the cat is upside down, it does make a lot more sense. So anyways, for the eyes, I decided to go with green because it would work with the subtle greens here and there throughout the piece, but it would also stand out and be more complementary because of all of the red tones in the artwork. And yeah, I just think that green eyes and a cat look very pretty. After this, it's time to go into this cat, and this is where the magic really happens with the fur, because I'm going to go in with my colored pencils here and add in all of that texture that I feel like is just missing on that cat's face. So I'm going to go in with white, but I'm also adding in gray, as you can see here, and I'm just going in with some rough little lines in a sort of flicking motion to emphasize that fur. And I'm also, as you can see, I added in the whiskers for the cat, and I'm just going to go in with some darker colors around those whiskers as well as some darker whiskers, and that is going to sort of draw your eye to them a lot more. And I just feel like when you add these like sharper highlights and shadows, it really sort of increases the contrast on the fur and just makes it look really cool and satisfying when I do it like this. Now I decided to go in with pencil for coloring in the pupil of the cat's eyes, and honestly I feel like that was a slight mistake, because if I went in with marker I would have been able to go in with a white pencil and add a sharp highlight, but since I couldn't do that, I'm honestly not too mad anyways, because I think it turned out really cool. And once I added in those sort of ripple textures to the water, you can really tell that it's a reflection, and I just think it turned out very, very cool. Now I'm just going to go around to the leaves here and just refine some of the shapes so you can see the separation between the water and the leaves and stuff that are around the puddle. And I'm also going to go back into some areas of the artwork and just add a little bit of texture to them to sort of emphasize that like the soil and stuff like that. And I think that it turned out very, very cool. So here is the final results for this artwork, and honestly I love this so much. This is definitely one of my favorite artworks of like recent that I've made, and I just love all of the detail and the colors and stuff like that. It just makes me happy, and I'm so glad that I did it. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit that like and subscribe button to get your scribble fix in the future, and hopefully I shall see you in my next video. Bye everyone.